Hey, what's up, guys? Again, so I'm real quick going to go into a couple more details on this build. I was a little, I wouldn't say short, but kind of just showing what it is. Um, so just going into a couple more like details on stuff about it. So, like I said before in the previous video, basically when it came to these mounts, down here, I said that there was only like two versions, I believe, or what this one was. So let me just do some a little bit of clarification here. There's actually a couple mounts that you can actually get to do this VR6 swap into a B5 S4 platform. So the one that I have specifically is a Passat VR5. So it's a real good mount because it literally lines up exactly with the other mount right here to go to the subframe mount that holds the motor up. But there are a couple other versions, so that you can use a 3.2 Phaeton mount from Europe for it. But the problem with the Phaeton mount is that while it does bolt up and all that stuff just fine, it does kick this mount right here at more of an angle, much like kind of like what my other side mount looks like, and I'll show you that in a minute here again. The good thing about getting the Phaeton mount though is that the gasket, so this is not just the engine mount, it's also the oil filter housing and oil cooler assembly and all that. The actual oil filter itself may be hard to see, but the actual oil filter is actually a canister type and it's inside of there. So right behind here is actually the oil passages, and the gasket for the Phaeton mount is much easier to obtain than a Passat VR5 gasket. So I'm actually going to have to be making my own gasket for that. Now there's another version of the mount that you can purchase, and it's done by a company called iBed. iBed makes some pretty good, billet stuff and all that. So their mount is all, I believe, CNC'd aluminum. It also comes with, you can buy a bracket for it as well too that you can put on, an external oil cooler and a sandwich plate type thing and all that stuff. And it's a really nice looking mount. Really, it's kind of expensive, but it's a really good mount, and it bolts right up as well too. I just didn't go down that route just because, once again, like I said, this is being a budget build, and I was able to find this mount on eBay for literally, it was like $80 US, and it was shipped, and it got here literally in like a week, even during all this COVID stuff going on. So that was that. So the passenger side mount though, there's two options for this one as well too. Obviously, like I said before, I have the Phaeton mount. As you can see, it does kind of kick it at a little bit of an angle right here, so you cannot use a Passat VR5 mount for this one because it's actually completely different. It does not bolt up on here. So the only other option, other than making these yourself out of like regular bar and all that, is to purchase, once again, the iBed Industries mount for the passenger side as well too. And once again, same thing, really good fitment, CNC'd aluminum, pretty sure, and it's just same thing though. It's pretty expensive. So back down to the oil pan. Let's go back down to the oil pan here. So, well, it's hard to see. Oh, let me sit down here. So, like I said before, this is a 3.2 liter Phaeton oil pan. The oil pan is almost literally a direct bolt-on. I mean, it pretty much is a direct bolt-on, and it clears the subframe and all of that. You can run a couple different options as well too. You can buy a Torag oil pan, a 3.2 liter Torag oil pan, but then you got to do a lot of chopping on it because the way that the actual Torag pan, actually sits, I don't know if I can get my hands down to do it, is that it actually sits down like this, but back here more by the subframe, so you actually have to cut it, and you got to do all welding and stuff like that as well too. The other option too is that you can get iBed. They make an oil pan for it as well too, but once again, it's pretty pricey. The iBed oil pan, I believe, I think it's about $795 for that. This is the Phaeton one. They can go for a good amount of money as well too, but I found this one on eBay from the UK, shipped over to me. I think I paid $185 for it. But then when I obtained it and we started cleaning it off, we realized that it had a couple cracks in it. And sorry if the camera goes crooked and all that, but you see we had to weld it up in a couple different places there. But other than that, you know, that's that. The adapter plate, I really only know that the adapter plate comes from like a VR5 or something like that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are other people that make the adapter plates, but I didn't go down that route. I mainly just went for the VR5 bracket because I knew for an absolute fact that that would fit. I want to also apologize for the last video. I know the lights that we have in the shop that I work at are really, really bright, and I know that they actually blinded me, or blinded you guys probably a little bit while I was making the last video. So I'm kind of hoping that they're not. You're going to be blinded regardless. I'm sorry. The only thing I can really do is sit down, but then I'm not really in the camera. So going back to the intake manifold that I was making over there. So I know that there's much probably better ways of to cut like the pipe for it and all that. But basically what I did was, so I have a 3D printer, and I found an STL, so that's actually the file for 3D prints, for these right here. These are actually exhaust header fabrication tools. Now you can buy a regular set of these tools online. And I don't know if you can get kits in all different sizes or if you have to buy them per size. But these kits can run up to like $700 just for the kit of them. So basically, I found the STL for it and printed them out, and they have little clips and all that on there, and you literally just clip them together like so, and then you can rotate them to make any of the angles. So they come in all different sizes, lengths, and stuff like that. Well, for the guy who made the STL, or the files for him. So I printed them out. Took about I printed way more than what I really needed, because I really only needed literally one bend, but I got a whole box of them over here. So it took about 24 hours of just straight printing. But then in the end, what I ended up coming up with was this. And so one side of it went into the intake manifold flange, and then the other side of it went into the plenum chamber. And then basically I literally just took these and copied it to the pipe that I needed. And so the way that I actually did it, I know there's probably much other better ways of cutting the pipe in a bandsaw, but I did it in a bandsaw. But the way I did it was that literally I just took a piece of pipe, and the pipe I have is actually curved. Actually, I can grab it right here. So the pipe that I actually got, move you over here, maybe this won't, move you over here, maybe it won't blind you as much. So the pipe that I actually got was, it came with the kit, and it's, what size is this actually? Let's see here. It is 1 3/4 inch aluminum 180. So full 180 bend with a little bit of a straight pipe with it as well too to go along with it. Now, obviously when you go to cut stuff in a bandsaw and you need to get those bends, you can do it as pie cuts. Well, the problem that I found was that when I put it in the bandsaw, I couldn't get the right angles. If I moved the bandsaw to the right angles, I couldn't get it to really get where it needs to go because it was bent. So basically, what I did was this. This is exactly what I did. Now let's go. So basically, I would take, let's say, this little guy for instance, and I would put him on the ground right there, and I know that this bend was going this way, so I would literally go like this down here with it, but then I would rotate it because I'm looking at the back side. So I would rotate it literally 180, and I would basically eyeball it, put a little mark there, and then I would turn this back around and I would rotate it, and I would put a little mark right in there as well too, and then I would connect the line, and then I would cut it. And that's how I got my cuts for it, and then put it all together, and then ended up with something like this, and that's what's on the intake manifold over there. So that's what that ended up as, and while it may be totally, absolutely the wrong way of doing it, it's what worked for me and what was easiest. Like I said, I'm not a true fabricator, I don't do it a lot, and I just wanted to try everything myself, learn as I go, and just get better and just be able to say that I made everything myself. You know, that car is made by myself. So I did end up purchasing just a regular cast log style exhaust manifold for the turbo, and went to go fit it on there, and it wouldn't fit. Well, it fit, but not for my setup. So the problem with it is that where the turbo mounted to the exhaust manifold, the wastegate was on the wrong side. So the only way that I could get around doing that is if I put a block off plate on the wastegate port, and I'd have to make a new hole in the exhaust manifold and put the wastegate on there. It just wasn't worth it for me. So I'm sending that one back, and we're going to be making my own. I have all the flanges to bolt up to the factory exhaust manifold, and so that's what I'll do. I'll do that, and then I'll grab some Schedule 10 and make some piping to match up to that. Then I have the T3 flange, and we'll make a collector right into there. I want to do a true tubular manifold for it. It's just not in the cards right now for me. So that's what's going in. That's a little quick update. The next couple weeks I'll be bringing it back in to do a lot more work on it. But until then, I'll have some other videos coming up. Just basically, you know, me doing some work on the car, but not really like on the car, more or less still working on the intake manifold. So I'll have some videos coming up of me doing the cuts and doing some welding and all that stuff of it on there. And like I said, I'm far from the best fabricator, but everyone's got to learn somewhere, and everyone has to try, I guess. That's all I can really say. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this. Leave a comment below. Please like, please subscribe. And then have a good night. Talk to you guys next time.